Idle, idle, die. Oh, shalom, my friends. Shalom, my enemies. This is your old pal, Rabbi Sol Solomon, and I'm here with you on this afternoon, this day of Hanukkah, talking with a shiksa. Her name is Debbie Peterson. First of all, let's make sure you unmute yourself so we can hear you. Debbie Peterson, she is an authoress and a mayoress and a realtoress. So happy and shalom to you, Deb. Why are all these lit? They should not be lit yet. Wait, I'm going to unlight them. Hello, Debbie. How are you?
I'm wonderful, and I brought you some gelt.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, yeah, bring it right to my mouth. Let me, oh, yeah. I usually pay $2.99 a minute for that. But anyway, shalom to you. How are you?
Shalom.
You can help me. Hold on. Let's light the candles. Let's do this. So are you married to each other? Do you have any Jewish connection, any Jewish family, anything?
They're sitting right next to me. Yes, but you can't see them because I won't let them come on the camera because they've got their radio faces.
Oh,
But,
talk about a radio face.
My son's dad's grandmother was Jewish. And
that
his Auntie
Rosa's
Rosa's
was Jewish. If his grandmother was Jewish, technically he's kind of in the Jew area, kind of, Jew-esque.
Well, they had their DNA done, and their DNA says they're a little Eastern European, so we know it's legit.
There you go. Are they circumcised?
I can't remember. We're not married anymore.
Oh, sorry. All right. We won't go there. Let's light the lock there. Are you ready? Let's just do this quickly so we can talk about your book and we can talk about your career and your baking, and then everything's all this is going up my nose. This is all right. Let's just keep it there for a minute. All right. That'll do because we're not doing the next one until tonight. So they're happy. Went to the 6th day of Hanukkah plus to you, Debbie Peterson, and to your semi-Jewish family members who are not really Jewish but sort of connected. Anyway, what's new?
Oh, well, I'm excited because my book just came up on Amazon. It's the City Council 101, the Insider's Guide for New Council Members. So that's the one for all these people who just got elected and they're going, oh, now what do we do?
Right,
and, so I'll tell them what to do.
Yeah, we've never had, and this is honest to God, as I talk to him all the time, we've never had a politician or a former or an actual real government person on this program all these years. So if I wanted to go, if I say, I want to be on politics, I want to get on city council, what is the one or two things that I really should keep in mind?
Well, the first thing you should do is you should go to the city council meetings so that you know how it works. You got to be informed. And a whole lot of people run and they don't ever go to anything, which is kind of silly because they don't know what's going on and they can't do the job very well. And it takes them a long time to figure out how it all works. So that's the first thing. I think the other thing is the people who are really best at it, in my opinion, as a businesswoman, is business people, because they understand cash flow. They understand budgets. They can smell a rat if there's a rat to be smelled. So those would be my two recommendations. But we also, they've discovered, when they do all the studies, women always show up as being much less corrupt than men. So it's good to have women on councils too.
And they also smell better. They do
smell better.
It's good to have
both ways.
Yeah. So let me ask, you were a mayor of a California town. This absolutely boggles the mind. The fact that that's how I know people in New York. So when you think of mayors like Koch and Giuliani, and is it as big a deal in a smaller community?
Well, we think it is when we're in the community.
Question.
Giuliani, he was a hero. Now he's not.
For a while, now he's not. But yeah.
Yeah.
He was a wonderful mayor for the first few years. He really, absolutely.
He was. Yeah.
So I look at that and I'm like, how do you do a job like that? How do you even sleep when you are in charge of Manhattan? I couldn't even sleep if I was in charge of, what were you, San Luis Obispo, or where were you?
No, my little town was Grover Beach and it was 13,000 people.
That's still.
So it's really a part-time volunteer job. You don't get paid for doing it. It's full time. It took I did it 40 hours a week, but it's not an executive job. It's more of a ceremonial job. You're the chairman of the board. You've got the 4 other council members. You've only got 1 vote. So you don't really control anything. You're just, you're the figurehead.
Well, why did you want to do this?
Well, because I had a background in business and it was a small town, they needed some help with redevelopment. I'd had a lot of experience of that. And because I had a degree in public relations and they needed a little help with their image. So I thought between those 2 things, and my company had about the same turnover, number of employees, number of outlets. And I thought, hey, I could do this. So
But unpaid. You as a
service.
business person just goes, I'll help. I can't imagine how many mayors out there are just doing this pro bono. Well, Sonny Bono may have, but
I would say many, many, many of the mayors in small towns and the council members and the planning commissioners, all those commissioners, most of them are doing it pro bono in the small towns. So there's hundreds, thousands. In fact, in California alone, I think I figured out there are like 1,000 council members and mayors, and a lot of them are doing it pro bono. Not in Los Angeles. The most corrupt town in California is Los Angeles. In fact, in the country right now, the FBI is going after them on more things than any other city. They get paid 200,000 plus a year, but most of us.
So, but here's the deal: you weren't even, a lot of the people who weren't even paid, and there was corruption. Why be corrupt if there's no money involved? What were they getting out of it?
Well, you got to find some money somehow.
Oh,
so, you know,
your book is focused on this, and what's nice is we can say terrible things about him because he's dead. But there was a county supervisor who was a naughty person in a lot of ways.
He was.
How did you how do you start to get this? You come in there. Oh, I'm going to help my community. I'm going to be a mayor. I'm going to do this. How do you start to notice that things don't smell right? The rats start.
You know, the first thing is people start to come to tell you things. So even 4 years before I ever was elected mayor, I had a former mayor come to me when I was on the council, and he said, Debbie, there's a problem, get this, at the sewer district, and you need to go in and clean it up. But I couldn't because the former mayor was controlling everything. And he was telling us nobody else can do anything here but me, which was a lie, but we all believed it because we didn't have any reason not to believe him at that time. And then more and more people came, and then the grand jury came, and then there were all kinds of investigations. So I ran for mayor, and when I became mayor, then I could do something about it. But what part of it is,
yeah. Somebody tells you there's something wrong with the sewer. I mean, you probably smell something wrong with the sewer. So what do you just go to the people running the sewer and say, oh, you need to change that valve? I mean, how do you fix something like that?
You get a whole lot of people. The more people you have, the easier it is to fix. But you also, you know, you go and you look at all the accounts. And if you've got someone who's a business person, I've done some management consulting. So I just ran my management consulting review of the whole thing. And I could see that the numbers absolutely didn't work. Year on year, they weren't comparing the accounts. So you never knew from year on year what was happening. That in itself is a red flag. And it was things that everyday people could see. It wasn't rocket science. So you go look at the budgets, you ask the questions, and you say, how come you haven't released any audits for the last 3 years? That's kind of suspicious. So there are things like, there are things that everyday people can see. But then there were 3 whistleblowers, and all 3 whistleblowers lost their jobs. Suddenly $11 million that was set aside to do backup systems in case there was a problem with something, all of a sudden it was gone.
Now, it's vanished. I mean, did they have offshore bank, the legendary offshore bank, or in Switzerland or something, or where does $11 million go? It's not like stealing paper from the office.
The administrator was also the engineer. He owned an engineering company, and he would put in new equipment, and somehow it would never work. So he would have to go in and re-engineer it and re-engineer it and re-engineer it and charge and charge.
Getting more paychecks for doing bad work. It wasn't. Yeah. Oh, it wasn't just suddenly doing somebody erasing a zero or something. Literally, he was just billing and billing and billing and billing.
Yes. And then he put in all his own people to do the same work that the sewer people were doing for about 1/3 of the price. So then we had all of the sewer plant staff and all of his staff doing the same work.
Wow. So what happens? Is that criminal? Yes. Really, it is criminal. Why?
Oh, yeah. Well, Well, because he's ripping off the public.
Well, he's saying, I'm doing work and I'm billing you for it, and you're stupid enough to pay me. Is that
Yes.
illegal? Why is that illegal?
Well, he's self-dealing for one. He's sending all the work to his own company, which is a conflict of interest. So what we did is there is the absolute top government corruption guy in the country is Carl Knudsen. And Knudsen was the guy who brought down Oliver North, and the Noriega, that whole thing was brought down by Carl Knudsen. He's also the guy who did the Medellin cartel.
Cartel in Colombia. Oh, yeah. Wow.
Carl did all of that. He was the one who coordinated it all. And so his daughter was a friend of some friends of mine. So I convinced him to come in and look at our area. And it was so bad, he still gets angry because we're not done yet. He still gets angry when we talk about it. And that's how bad it was. It makes him mad. So he came in and he did audits, but it took a lot of the public. We had to show up at meetings for 3 years and basically holler about it at meetings for 3 years. And finally we got those audits done, and those audits went to the district attorney, and the district attorney had to prosecute.
So, and is the guy in jail, or did he have to give back like 10.7 million?
Oh, no, he had to give back, I think 69,000.
I'm going into corruption. What am I wasting my time with this rabbinical shit for? I should be corrupting things.
I know, you're in the wrong business. You're in the wrong business. You got to go to the little districts all over the country.
Oh my God. I gotta have my own little island somewhere, just be full of money, and I'd be like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'll plead guilty. Fine, I'll plead guilty. I stole like $40 million. Here's $150, and
exactly.
I'm so sorry. I'm terrible. Let me ask you. I have a mix of, I know that I have both Republican and Democrat viewers and listeners on this program, or Dave does. So the machine you were dealing with, was it one particular party? Because it's California, I assume it was very left, but I don't know. Or was it everybody?
Well, the thing is, these local posts are supposed to be nonpartisan, and we run nonpartisan, and they, I'm told that 20 years ago it was the Republicans who were corrupt, but right now, this party was my party. It was the Democrats, so I call them the bad Dems. But and not all of them, of course, are corrupt. There are some independent, highly principled Democrats, but this was a cartel of bad Democrats. But having said that, the corrupt ones weren't all Democrats. There were some Republicans in there who were corrupt as well. They were just corrupt people. They weren't, it wasn't a particular party. It was people who were corrupt, and more of them were Democrats.
And you're kind of a whistleblower yourself, and you want to change things and fix things. So you're in there, but at a certain point, something happened. And I also want to ask about this in terms of, like, everybody thinks or thought, well, you bring in pot, right? And it pays for everything. It pays for the schools. It pays for the roads. You make the pot legal, you get it, through American currency, and suddenly, the coffers start whatever. And yet the corruption that you encountered in the biggest way was pot related. And yet when you start going after it, after a while, you just say, fuck this, I quit. What happened?
Well, because it was coming in to a corrupt city council, they didn't choose any of the local companies that had experience, that lived in our town, that had clean track records. The only people that were chosen to open dispensaries in my city were ones with felonies. And so now, when they opened in 2019, we're at 2022, really I'd say within a year or two of those three had people who had felony charges against them. And one of them is in jail now.
Hold on. Again, this is now, marijuana is still federally illegal, but it was illegal all over the place. If you was that a felony? So if you say people had felony charges, maybe they were carrying 4 ounces of pot and busted, and that was a felony.
No, these weren't pot charges. These were more serious charges. These weren't related to pot. That wasn't an issue. They were other felony charges. theft, prostitution.
So how was it that who was looking out for them? Usually criminals have a hard time finding a job. Why? What was the corruption involved where someone was going, oh, I think I want a crook running a dispensary. Let me run that through the local council. I mean, I don't understand. Help.
Well, you know, you hang out with the kind of people who are like you are, and if you want to be getting $100,000 bribes to open a dispensary, then you're gonna invite the people to town who'll pay you to do that. And that's what was happening. The suicide in the title of the book, Sleaze, Lies, and Suicide in a California Beach Town, was a gentleman who came from New Jersey, who was our supervisor, who was taking bribes from the guy who's now in jail. And
what is the Hill guy, right? The Hill.
Adam Hill. Yeah. Our New Jersey import. Yeah. Having said that, I mean, it wasn't just cannabis that was corrupt. Our county's been corrupt from day one. And it seems to happen that way. Things start corrupt and they stay corrupt. So he just came into the right place. He came into the right location to do what he wanted to do.
But why did it break your spirit to the point that you had to just, I'm out of here?
Oh, it didn't break my spirit.
Well, then why not stay on?
Because it was 4-1, and every single thing that came before the council had something in it that was corrupt. And so by staying, I was almost condoning a system and saying, yeah, this is a system that's working. By voting on it, I was saying, okay, the system works. It doesn't. It wasn't working. It was really corrupt. I couldn't vote on anything that was legitimate. And I could no longer do anything by being there. I'd been standing up against it for many, many years. And I realized that my time would be better spent to step down and write the book. So I wrote the book. So many of us have been trying for a very long time to get the message out, even higher at a state level, or a national level. And we just hadn't had any success doing it. We hadn't had success with the press and media. We hadn't had success with the judicial system or with the criminal system, with the enforcement. So I said, okay, fine, I'm going to write the blockbuster and I'm going to tell the story. And so it didn't break my spirit. I just decided there's another way to do this. It's not working this way. I'm going to try another way.
As you were saying, it isn't completely better yet or adjudicated yet, but things are better since is it more better?
It's mo better. Yeah, it is better. It's better. There was another sanitary district. This was the recycling district. The Integrated Waste Management Authority.
Oh, I know them.
Also had some problems. They were using company credit cards. We sent Carl Knutson in there too. A group of citizens got together and paid him to go in and audit there. And they were using a government credit card to fix up their kitchens. They renovated their kitchens. And
not the government, their own kitchens. Yeah,
not the government kitchen. No, even that might be a little questionable, but no, their own kitchens. And so there's someone there who's now got charges. And but everybody, there's only one person who's got charges against her. The others all got off, and everybody blamed everybody else. The DA said, well, I can't do anything about it because they bought an enormous shredder and shredded everything. And Knutson had to take them to court, and he won the court case. He had to take them to court to get the documents to audit them. So, I mean, it was just, this was a government agency. They start
pasting them back together once they were shredded? Did they have to do that kind of thing? No, or they can't?
No, they couldn't do that. No, that's why the DA, the district attorney, could not go after them, because there wasn't enough evidence, because it had all been shredded.
Well, at this point, though, I mean, it's been 30 years since the computer. Couldn't they just say, we want your computers and we want to unerase what you've erased? I mean, I imagine they could have done that.
Yes, except, but they were the agency that recycles computers.
This is great. This is so. Well, let me ask you a fair question on the other side of things. Like, you write a book like this, okay? How does it? And you name names and you tell the whole story and you say things about things. How many lawyers does it go through? How many? When you're comfortable, like, putting it out there, because you're saying bad things about people. So, and one of them is dead, but not all of them.
Yeah. No, good question. No, the fair question. I went through an attorney on Wilshire Boulevard who worked for MSN, I believe, as an investigative reporter, and then became an attorney. So he looks at scripts and he looks at this kind of thing, and so he gave me some good advice. I didn't write everything in the book. There's more of the story that I didn't tell.
Okay.
I only used names where I really had to use names in the story. And I would have done that anyway. And if people are a public figure, they're pretty much fair game.
Well, there's public figures, and there's like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Tom Cruise, and then there's city council member elect number 5 in.
Yeah, they're still public figures, because we are allowed to criticize our government, and even members of government are allowed to criticize their government. And of course, if it's malicious, that's a different story. If you're doing it maliciously, we're allowed to express our opinions. And if someone's deceased, unless their estate wants to take you on, you're free to say what you wish. The other thing is, I didn't report anything that hasn't already been reported in the press and media. So and of course, I still have to check those sources and make sure that they're credible. But so there's really nothing in the book that I have that hasn't been vetted by me, and also hasn't been documented. I referenced almost everything really carefully.
Yeah, the real criticism that I read, there's one, what's his name? Do I have his name? Aaron Oakes. I don't know if you know this person.
Oh, yes.
I think bitching
Yes.
about your book, saying that, two people in a room and possibly doing like a dirty deal or something like that. And then there's a third person in the room and they're guilty by association, because that person was also in the room at the time. So, I mean, how do you even, you're not saying they did something, you're just saying they were in the room. I mean, it's this he said, she said a little bit, no? Or how do you respond to people who say, you're intimating that someone's guilty without any real actual evidence on certain things?
That's not true.
Aha, okay. So the book is very clear about what's really bad and what's sort of like what was happening.
Yeah. Everything that happened, I was either a direct witness or I have paperwork that documents everything that was said.
By the
depositions or court depositions or other city council meetings, videoed meetings, that sort of thing.
Now, people want to buy the book. They go to DebbiePeterson.com or where,
Yes.
or Amazon or whatever.
Yeah, or Amazon. And if you just Google Happiest Corruption. So that's the first book, The Happiest Corruption, Sleaze, Lies, and Suicide in a California Beach Town. And that's just Google Happiest Corruption. And I wrote that one to get people's attention, to say, if you don't pay attention, here's what can happen. And then I've got the follow-up one, which just came up, and that's City Council 101. So I'm going to be doing a series, Integrity 101. And the next one after that's going to be We the People 101.
About what? About what citizens can do to, or
what? Yeah, like that's the first question you asked me. What's the everyday person do if they want to get involved? And so in each case, I want to, for the city council members and then for We the People, I want to help people streamline it, because it takes a long time to really understand it. And if you understand it, it's much easier to have a positive effect there.
So are you completely, do everyone go into politics again? Because you're selling real estate now. Which there's no corruption there, but
yeah, and of course not. No. Our former president will tell you there's no corruption in real estate, but I've been doing real estate all along for 25 years, and that's how I, supported myself while I was the mayor and everything else. So I will continue. I like doing that. I'll continue to do that. And no, I have absolutely no interest in being an elected representative again. I served for 15 years, and I think that's a good long time to serve.
But where do you think real estate, now that they're raising the rates, I mean, has real estate taken a hit, or are things still kind of selling, or they're selling a little slower? Or, I mean, what the next year or two, where do you see it going?
I think it may not be as bad as we think. And of course, everyone says, oh, you would say that you're a realtor. Our economists are good. The National Association of Realtors and the California Association, the economists are good. They know what they're talking about. They're usually right. And what they're saying right now is, yes, the number of homes selling, of course, is going to slow down. But when the number of homes selling slows down, then that keeps the prices solid because there's less inventory. So it's, it's all still market driven because people still have to buy and sell. People are still moving, changing jobs, whatever, for whatever personal reasons that they want to move.
Are the home prices stabilizing at least, or is it still or
they're saying it's still going to rise a little bit? I have a hard time swallowing that, believing that, because certainly the last 3 homes I've sold since June, the last clients I've been working with, they've gone down. They've gone down a little bit. Not hugely, but a little bit, just a little bit. And it's
to make up for, instead of a house being 4%, suddenly it's like 7.5 or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, that's so hard for people. Yeah, it makes a huge difference on their monthly payments. Yeah.
Now, before I have to go, and you're staying on to play the quiz with Dave and the other people. But one of the reasons we also had you on is we've been talking about real estate, we've been talking about politics, we've been talking about all these other. But at one point you were also like a baker, restaurateur, cafe person. Not even in America. What the hell were you doing in Scotland?
Well, I was a member of a Presbyterian church when I was a kid, and we used to do exchanges with the Church of Scotland. They're the same church. And so I got to know a lot of Scottish kids. When I got out of college, I wanted to go work abroad. I figured I had a degree in communication. I better go where they more or less speak English. So I went to Scotland. I knew people there. And my mother had started a company in California, a little cookie company that went very well. And after doing some marketing in Scotland, I thought, oh, that would work in Great Britain. So I launched carrot cake and brownies and chocolate chip cookies in Scotland and England, and they really took off. Even Margaret Thatcher liked them. The prime minister.
But hold on. If you were in an exchange program, weren't you there for like 6 months or a year? How would you start a business and everything, or what?
Well, eventually I went over there to work for a couple of years, and I had a work permit because at that time I was allowed in because you couldn't get they didn't have a communications degree available at that time in Great Britain. So I had a unique qualification. So I was able to work over there. And then by the time I had a company with 100 employees, they wanted me to stay because I was creating jobs. The male unemployment in the shipyards in Glasgow was 33%. So that's where I was, and they wanted me there, and that's how. Oh, I told you that's how I became. I was the cookie queen to most people, but I was the bagel queen on Sunday mornings.
some old Yid called you this, right? Tell us.
Yeah. I love making bagels, and I learned how to do that in a home ec class in college. And so I supplied bagels to the U.S. Navy, the submarine station there in Greenock, Scotland.
Stop. So, how you can't even make bagels at home? Don't you need one of those big boily vat things to make a bagel?
Yeah.
So how's this like? Oh, you had a bagel vat in your kitchen? In your Catholic kitchen there, or Presbyterian? Excuse me.
Yeah, but just big old pots. Yeah, you have to make the dough and let it rise, and then punch it down and let it rise again, and then you cut the bagels we did it with cookie cutters. With donut cutters, and then you throw them in the hot water and you boil them, and then you take them out and then you bake them.
Wow,
and that's why they're fun. They're fun to make. They're interesting.
Now, why is it people say that you can get good? It's not true, but that you can only get good bagels in New York. And they can't. Is the water? What is the secret of a good bagel wherever you're making bagels?
Oh, I don't know what the secret is. I don't know how to tell you that.
Yeah. Oh, all right.
I don't know.
Because you have to.
But I always think my bagels are pretty good.
Well, I'm sure yours were. Did you have different flavors? Did you do like the everything? I love the everything.
No, I just did plain bagels. You know what? I think the secret is just do a plain bagel.
Yeah.
I think that's a secret. That's a real bagel. Real bagels don't have all that other stuff in them.
Oh, yes, they do. Oh, yes, they do. Everything, onion, garlic, all the things that make a Jew's breath be as horrible as it is.
Cheese. Yeah.
Osnago, they do the thing.
By the time you put salmon and cream cheese on them. That's pretty, and have,
But
too
wait,
bad
didn't you
stuff.
make a terrible mistake though? Didn't you make
Oh my gosh, yes, yes. Well, see, they were really popular in the south side of Glasgow where there's a big Jewish community. So I was really busy. Every Sunday morning I had to deliver all these bagels, and which, I like to sleep in on Sunday morning. That was a challenge for me. And then but everybody loved them because mine were the cheapest bagels. And then someone said, "Are your bagels kosher?" And I said, what do I need to do to make my bagels kosher?
You said, did you actually say what is kosher? Oh,
I said, yeah, what do I need to do? I'll make them kosher. And they said, well, you need to ask the rabbi to bless your bakery. And then I said, okay, so what would make my bakery kosher? And I realized I wasn't going to be able to make my bakery kosher because I baked with other things that weren't kosher.
Were you using lard for some of the other things? Were you making like brownies with lard? Because
I don't think we used lard for anything, but we mixed milk and stuff, and I think we put milk in the bagels. I don't think
there's no harm in that.
No, I wish you'd been around then.
I would have blessed everything.
Because Ben and Jerry came over.
Yeah.
And Ben and Jerry came over because we served their ice cream
in one of our
cafes. So I should have had you come over.
Yeah, no, Ben and Jerry would kick their asses out the door with them and Zionism bastards. Hope they die. No, but
they were good guys then.
Yeah, then they were all right. But see, you taught me so much about corruption that basically you would have given me a big pile of money. I would have said, oh, this is what I'm blessing. I bless this. This is
yes. I could have paid you. I could have paid you to do it. Yes.
Oh, God.
Oh, it would have been perfect. But I didn't know about, well, I did a little bit, but not so much about corruption then. So yeah. So then all after that, I could only supply them to the submarine base because after that they weren't kosher anymore. So I got to sleep in on Sunday mornings after that.
Well, do not sleep in for the rest of this Saturday because you are sticking around now to play the Today Yesterday quiz with Dave Lefkowitz and Leslie Hoban Blake and Vicky Quaddy. It's going to be so much fun. But however, Rabbi Sol Solomon, I've got to get back to temple. I've got to light some more of these candles here. So first of all, I want to remind people, you got to get the books by Debbie Peterson, The Happiest Corruption, and also City Council 101. They are going to be available. They are available from Amazon, from your website, happiestcorruption.com, debbiepeterson.com. Do you have a citycouncil101.com or maybe .org?
No, just go to Amazon City Council or go to my website. Mm-hmm.
Debbie Peterson, Peterson. I like those fucked up Norwegian spellings. Peterson.com. Now, Debbie, just stick around. I'm going to play a little Jew music for you. And so don't go away, and then you'll be playing the game. But it's been just so much fun and so delightful and so informative talking to you. I do wish that if you could send over like some bagels for my congregation this afternoon, it could really.
No problem.
Oh, and Mary, you know what, Miss to you. That also, I want to say that to you too, for being here on you know what, Miss Eve. It's very, very special to us. Thank you. Everybody, don't go away.